There are things quietly working against you right now, inside you, patterns that have been running so long they feel normal, habits of thought and energy that you have carried for years without questioning them. And every single day, without you realizing it, they are dismantling what you are trying to build. This is not a motivational speech. I am not here to get you excited. I am here to show you something that most people never see until it is much later than it needed to be. The world is not as harmless as it looks, and neither is your own mind. Most people who struggle with manifestation believe the problem is external. They think the universe, the source, or God, whatever you call it, is not listening, or that they have bad luck, or that maybe this whole thing does not work for people like them. The problem is your signal. Here are 7 internal states that act like slow poison inside your energetic field. They do not feel dramatic. They feel like ordinary thinking, like common sense, like being realistic. And that is exactly what makes them so dangerous. You are about to see them clearly, some of them, for the first time. And once you do, you will not be able to unsee them. This channel is about helping people understand and control the hidden forces shaping their reality. Like and subscribe so you can use this knowledge to your advantage. The first killer is one almost no one suspects, because it masquerades as something reasonable. It is called drifting. And it looks like this. You have a desire. It is real. You feel it. But somewhere between feeling it and fully committing to it, something softens. You let the days go by without actively holding the intention. You get absorbed in routine. You get busy. The vision that once felt urgent starts to become background noise. You are not against it. You still want it. You just stop actively being in relationship with it. Drifting is not the absence of desire. It is the absence of intention. And intention is the thing that gives your desire direction and force. Without it, your energy scatters. You broadcast a signal that is essentially noise. And the universe, which always responds to the clearest, most consistent signal in your field, has nothing coherent to work with. A lot of people drift for months, for years. They say they want something, but they treat that wanting like a background preference rather than a real direction, and they wonder why nothing locks into place. This is why. You cannot attract with a scattered signal. Clarity and sustained intention are the first conditions of manifestation. Without them, nothing else functions. The second killer goes a level deeper, and it is more common than you want to admit. It is the pattern of sending mixed signals, of wanting something and simultaneously pulling away from it, of saying yes with your words and no with your energy, of moving toward a desire and then sabotaging the approach. And it does not happen because you are weak or confused. It happens because inside most desires, there is a conflict that has never been resolved. You want the money, but somewhere underneath that, you carry a belief that having money changes people, that it creates separation, that it makes you a target. So you want it, and you fear it at the same time. You want the relationship, but underneath that, you believe that getting close to someone means getting hurt. So you attract people, and then subtly push them away before they can do it first. Your conscious mind wants one thing. Your deeper programming expects something else. And those two signals collide inside you before anything ever reaches the field. The universe does not receive a clean desire. It receives a contradiction, and contradictions do not manifest. They circle. The question to ask yourself is not, what do I want? The question is, what do I also fear about getting it? Because that fear is a signal too, and it is often louder than the desire. If the second killer distorts your signal, the third one weakens it, and it weakens it from the inside. This one is doubt, but not the kind of doubt that announces itself, the kind that lives underneath the affirmations. You can spend an hour doing visualization work and believe it completely in that hour, and then something small happens. A bill arrives. A conversation does not go well. Someone around you seems to be thriving while you are still waiting. And in that moment, without even choosing to, you feel it. That quiet contraction. That voice that says, but does this actually work for me? Doubt is not a conscious decision. It is a reflex, and it is built from years of evidence your mind has collected about what is and is not available to you. Every time something did not work in the past, your subconscious recorded it. Every disappointment became a data point, and now when you try to build a new belief, those old data points fire automatically. The damage doubt does is not just emotional, it is energetic. Every moment of doubt is a withdrawal from the account you have been building. Every time you feel the certainty and then let it collapse, you train your field to be unstable. And instability in your signal is one of the clearest reasons things stall right before they arrive. You were almost there, and then the doubt came in, and the frequency shifted, and the thing that was forming dissolved back into potential. Doubt is not something to fight. You cannot argue with your subconscious, but you can become aware of it. You can notice it without letting it vote. That awareness is the beginning of real power. And now we come to the fourth killer, the one that most people do not even try to defend against because they have been told it is responsible. Worry. Worry is fear dressed as planning. It is your mind running simulations of everything that could go wrong, believing that by thinking about the bad outcomes enough, you are somehow preparing for them or preventing them. It feels productive. It feels like you are being careful and realistic and mature. But here is what is actually happening when you worry. You are visualizing. That is all worry is. It is vivid, emotionally charged, repeated visualization of an outcome you do not want. And visualization is one of the most powerful tools in the manifestation process, which means worry is one of the most powerful tools working against you. You are using the exact mechanism that creates your reality to program it with your worst fears. Every hour you spend in anxious thought about a bad outcome is an hour of creative energy directed at that outcome. Not consciously, not intentionally. But the universe does not ask about intention. It reads signal. And a worried mind sends an extraordinarily clear signal. Repetitive, emotionally charged, consistent. Everything you want your positive visualization to be, your worry already is. The irony is devastating once you see it. The people who worry the most are not the people who are most protected from what they fear. They are the people most energetically invested in it. Stop here for a moment. Look at the pattern that is emerging across these first four killers. Drifting, mixed signals, doubt, worry. Each one of them is an inside job. None of them are about your circumstances. None of them are about the universe being unfair or indifferent or late. They are all about what is happening in your internal field, in your signal, in the quality and consistency and clarity of what you are actually transmitting. Most people spend their entire manifestation journey focused outward. They are watching for signs, checking for evidence, adjusting their external actions, waiting for the outer world to show them that it is working. And all of that watching and checking and adjusting is happening while the actual work, the internal work, the signal work, is being completely ignored. You have been trying to tune the radio station from outside the building. The transmitter is inside. It always was. And until you address what is happening at the level of your actual signal, every technique you apply on the outside is like rearranging furniture in a house with no foundation. This is the thing nobody told you clearly enough. Manifestation is an inside-out process. The internal state creates the signal shapes the field determines what is possible to receive. External effort can only ever work within the range of what your internal state has made available. And if your internal state is running the four patterns we have just covered, that range is narrow. And getting narrower. The next three killers are going to confirm this in a way that will be uncomfortable to hear, because they are more common than any of the first four, and they are more socially accepted, which means they run deeper. The fifth killer is the one that comes disguised as wisdom. It is over-caution. The habit of making yourself smaller than you are to avoid the risk of getting it wrong. The pattern of holding back from full commitment to a desire because full commitment feels dangerous. What if it does not work? What if you look foolish? What if you go all in and nothing happens and you are left with nothing but evidence that you were wrong to believe? So instead of full commitment, you give partial commitment. You keep one foot in the old reality just in case. You protect yourself by never fully belonging to the vision. You want it, but you keep an escape route open so the disappointment is manageable. And that hedging is devastating to your signal. The universe does not respond to half signals. It does not reward hedged bets with full outcomes. The energy you bring to your desire is matched by the energy of the response. Partial commitment receives partial movement, and partial movement always looks like nothing is happening, which confirms the fear, which deepens the caution, which further weakens the commitment. The cycle feeds itself. There is a version of your desire that you have not yet allowed yourself to fully inhabit because you are afraid of being wrong about it. That withholding is not protection. It is the primary thing standing between where you are and where you are trying to go. You cannot build a full reality on a provisional belief. The sixth killer is pessimism, and it runs deep in most people because it was trained into them early. Pessimism is not just a mood, it is a filter. It is the default lens through which a conditioned mind scans the world, always finding evidence for what is not working, what is missing, what is unlikely, what has not arrived yet. It is not necessarily dramatic. It does not have to look like depression or despair. It can be quiet. A small contraction when you think about the future. A habitual tendency to expect the ordinary version of things. A reflexive skepticism that shows up whenever something good begins to form. And because pessimism is a filter, it does not just affect how you feel. It affects what you see. It literally edits your perception. You stop noticing the signs of progress because your filter is tuned to signs of stagnation. You miss the moments of confirmation because your mind has already categorized them as too small to count. You dismiss the early movement because it does not look the way you expected it to look. Pessimism starves the manifestation process of something it cannot function without: recognition. When good things begin to move in your direction, you have to be in a state to receive and acknowledge them. Even the small ones. Especially the small ones. Because small recognitions build the neural and energetic pattern of receiving, and a pessimistic filter systematically strips that pattern down before it can solidify. And then there is the seventh, the last one, and in some ways the most insidious of all: complaining. Not the occasional frustrated moment, not the honest conversation where you process something difficult with someone you trust. That is not what this is. This is the pattern of habitual complaint. The steady, ongoing narration of everything that is wrong, everything that is unfair, everything that has not worked, everything that other people are doing incorrectly, everything the world owes you that it has not delivered. Complaining feels like release. It feels like honesty. It feels like at least you are not pretending everything is fine when it is not. And there is a kind of social bonding that happens around shared complaint. It can feel connecting, like you are understood. But here is what complaining does at the energetic level. It locks you in. Every complaint is an act of energetic investment in the reality you do not want. Every time you describe in vivid, emotionally charged detail what is wrong and what is missing and what is not working, you are reinforcing the neural pathways that make that reality feel permanent and real. You are rehearsing a story of lack, and the universe, which reads your dominant signal, receives that story as your lived truth and continues to reflect it back. Complaining also has a cumulative effect that people rarely understand. It is not one conversation, it is a pattern, and patterns compound. Every day you spend in habitual complaint, you are deepening the groove. You are making the story of scarcity more automatic, more reflexive, more natural, until one day you are not even choosing to complain. You are just narrating reality as your conditioned mind has learned to see it. And that mind has been trained to see what is wrong first. The seventh killer is not just a bad habit. It is a signal that has taken on a life of its own. So where does this leave you? None of these 7 patterns are permanent. None of them are character flaws. They are not evidence of who you are. They are evidence of what you have been running, unconsciously, because no one showed you clearly enough what was happening underneath your experience. And now you are seeing it. That changes things. The correction is not about becoming a different person. It is not about forcing yourself into permanent positivity or pretending the difficult things are not real. That kind of performance is itself a mixed signal. It is not authentic, and the field reads inauthenticity clearly. The correction is about internal consistency, about slowly, deliberately bringing your actual inner state into alignment with what you genuinely want. Not performing alignment, living it, choosing it, building it from the inside until it becomes the dominant truth of your field rather than the occasional aspirational moment. Start with awareness, not fixing, just seeing. Begin to notice which of these 7 patterns are most active in you. Where do you drift? Where do you send mixed signals? Where does the doubt come in automatically? Where does the worry run longest? Where are you holding back out of protection? Where does the pessimistic filter fire first? Where are you narrating lack through habit? You do not need to attack these patterns. Attacking them gives them energy and resistance. Simply observe them. Name them without judgment. That quiet, clear naming is itself a shift. Because you cannot run an unconscious pattern consciously. The moment you see it clearly, it loses some of its automatic power over you. Not all of it, but some. And that some is enough to begin. From that beginning you build. You build moments of real clarity that replace the drifting. You build honest internal inquiry that begins to resolve the mixed signals. You build a relationship with your doubt that does not let it vote. You build the discipline to redirect the worried mind back to possibility. You build the courage to commit fully to what you want. You build the filter that notices what is working. And you build the practice of narrating your reality in a direction that serves you. None of this happens overnight. All of it is available to you now. These 7 patterns have been there for a long time. That is the uncomfortable part of what you just heard. They were there last month, last year, in the seasons where things almost moved and then did not. In the moments where the door seemed to be opening and then quietly closed again. They were running silently underneath all of it. But here is the thing about silence. It only works in the dark. You have seen them now, all 7. You know what they look like and how they work and where they live inside your daily experience. And that knowledge is the beginning of something. Because the mind that has genuinely seen a pattern can no longer pretend it is not there. It notices it every time. And that noticing, even when it is uncomfortable, is the mechanism through which everything starts to change.